Hey, so Shuttle Art sent me these acrylic paint markers to try out, and a lot happened. So right away, I noticed that there was some grittiness. Do you see that? You kind of have to look closely. And I just immediately assumed that I used the wrong paper and that coloring in this sketchbook was going to ruin all of the nibs. So naturally, I panicked and started over on some Bristol. But wouldn't you know it, it turns out I was just pressing too hard. So here, I started with a light layer of color, and then I just continued layering on that color until it was solid enough for me. I did realize that no matter what, there was probably always going to be a little bit of grittiness, but I just feel like it looks better on this new paper. And that's good enough for me. By the way, these markers are double-ended, with a brush nib and a fine nib. I like the brush tip for coloring big spaces, but I struggled a bit with the finer details, as you can see here. I tried to push through, but I ended up just pushing the camera instead. As if that would help. It did not. Here's the fine tip. I don't really use this much at all, but it'll show up sometimes. Okay, now for the good stuff. Wait for it. Nice. Though this would be better if my hand wasn't so unsteady. Also, do you see like the little waves that are on there? The little lines? I do not know if that's my fault or the marker's fault. Let's just move on. Okay, this has nothing to do with the markers. But see how I rotate the paper there? I try to never do that so I can keep my clips consistent and so you can always see the drawing, like what the drawing is. But this time I decided that I do not care. I am not one of those artists that can just keep the canvas in the same location. I need to fling it back and forth, twirl it around, throw it across the room with reckless abandon in order to draw well. Okay, one very notable thing about these paint markers. They are messy. You can and likely will get ink splatters all over your hands, and you may get them on your drawing too. Okay, so I took a few clips where I used my micron pens to add some line art to this drawing, and if anyone was wondering, these ink pens work fine over the paint. Though, just be careful, the same way you would with any other medium, because if you look closely here, you can see that I kinda messed up. Or actually, you know what? Maybe you can't see it. I mean, I can see it. I see how it's messed up. Anyway, originally, I had plans for this drawing to just have a few colors, a black and pink color scheme. How did I mess up saying that? A black and pink color palette per this character's preference. Yeah, this is my character, by the way. More about her later. Or maybe not. But anyway, the colors. I decided that I wanted to really get into it and make sure all the markers were equal in their quality, so I opted to just unload as many colors as I could onto this sketch. A fun fact, don't tell anybody, but this sketch was actually a digital drawing first, and I just transferred it into my sketchbook, and then I transferred it again onto the new paper. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about these markers. As you can see, these colors are super vibrant. Throughout the clips I'm coasting through here, you can see that some colors lay down a lot more evenly than others. Some colors require multiple layers and some don't. Also, when you paint with one color on top of another, you'll probably have to like layer it on multiple times to get a nice opaque look. It didn't always work though, like you'll see the pink laces on the amorphous blob of a corset. The pink laces didn't really pop the way I would have liked them to, and layering on more paint didn't really help that much, but it's also very possible I just didn't layer enough. And this will be an inherent problem for me if I keep making these videos. Because I'm going to be convinced that every time something goes wrong, it's my fault, and not the supply's fault. By the way, here's a shot of me showing some more mess. This doesn't bother me because this happens no matter what kind of marker or paint I'm using. But I'm mentioning it just in case this could be a deal breaker for some. Okay, we have a bit of time before the next thing, so real quick, here's a profile for this character, if anyone's interested, I don't know. Okay, so time for the rainbow hair. This looked fine in the digital color test that I did, but it didn't quite work on paper. I mean, it's okay, but I don't know, it's not really doing it for me. It's probably because I thought it would be nice and bright against the black, but it wasn't, and I didn't try that hard to get it to happen either, so... here's a bit more of the mess that I created. A lot of these paint spots happened when I capped and uncapped the markers, so if you get these for yourself, just be aware of that. And if you do want to buy these, you should do it through my TikTok page so I can get some commission. Check the description, I'll explain how to do that. Wink wink. Okay, so right at the end, I smudged some red paint on her face, and my life flashed before my eyes. At least, I think it's red paint. It might be red Micron ink. If it's Micron ink, that means I sort of lied in my TikTok review and my YouTube short, but it doesn't matter, who cares? Well, anyway, I fixed it by painting over the red ink. Sort of. You can see that it doesn't quite work all the way. I considered leaving the red ink smudge and then making it look like she painted herself or had blood on her face. But no, I thought it was a good chance to showcase that you can sort of fix a mistake with these markers. Emphasis on sort of, because like you can still see it, right? I'm not crazy. So it's almost done. I take a second here to show even more mess. I really wanted to drive this point home because I think it's important that people know that these can make a big mess, although the paint came off pretty easily with some wet wipes. On the desk, I mean. It was at this point I remembered that this set came with 6 metallic colors. I completely forgot to use any of them, so I hastily poked on some gold buttons on the corset. You can barely see them, because I just wanted this to be done. The metallic pens work well enough as far as I can tell, and I'll probably use them for other things in the future. There's also this white pen, which I used to sign this drawing. This clip is shaking like crazy because I use my phone mount. The mount I'm using is one that is frequently advertised on TikTok and Instagram, and unfortunately, it's kind of unstable, so I don't use it that much. But okay, I did some more line art off camera, and now we're done. In conclusion, I will give Shuttle Art acrylic paint markers an 8 out of 10. I do recommend these. They are a lot of fun to use if you don't mind getting your hands dirty. Let me know if anyone has any questions. I would really appreciate any likes, subscribes, comments. I'm open to any feedback because I'm still figuring out what to do with this channel. I recently got another offer to review some markers of a different brand, so I may be doing this again soon. That's it. I'll see you then. Thanks again, Shuttle.